No Jamaican Sunday dinner is complete without a couple big spoonfuls of delicious rice and peas. I'm going to get detailed in this one and show you how to get a delicious pot of rice and peas with great texture and rich and delicious flavor. I'm going to try and break down a couple of the ingredients and all the ways you can handle them. Perfect. Now let's get started with the peas. The most commonly used peas in rice and peas is actually red peas. This gives a deep dark color to the rice. Red peas should not be confused with red kidney bean, which is also very popular and what you will see if you Google images of rice and peas. Gungo peas, both dry and green, are more of a seasonal thing, mostly around Christmas, and most varieties don't darken the rice. Cowpeas, the red variety, is what's typically used in rice and peas, but I couldn't find any. Most other peas used in rice and peas, and there are quite a few, are seasonal, so they are hard to find all year round. You could also get many of these peas canned to shorten the next steps. I had these kidney beans soaking in water overnight. This is one way to handle your peas for rice and peas. It not only makes cooking the peas much quicker, but it also improves the texture. And you could add some extra flavor by soaking it with garlic as well. I always forget to soak my peas though. One other way to cut down cooking time is to use a pressure cooker. I'm just going to do it the hard way. I'm going to wash 1 cup of red peas. A cup of red peas to 2 cups of rice is a good ratio for rice and peas. A 2-to-1 ratio for rice, water and peas is what usually gives me good results. I'm going to add 3 cups of water to the peas. 3 because this will reduce quite a bit before it's cooked. I'm going to flavor this with a small chopped onion. A few cloves of chopped garlic. A bit of scallion. Usually I smash ginger to add to the rice and peas, but grating works really well. I only need a couple teaspoons of this. Pimento. A few of the dried berries add a ton of flavor to our rice and peas. The next 2 ingredients are optional and not typical in rice and peas, but I like to add cloves. A few adds a bit of extra fragrance. And bay leaf. A little goes a far way and it elevates the final dish. This will go on medium heat to boil. It usually takes 30 minutes to sometimes an hour depending on the peas and how tough they are. If the water reduces too much before it's done cooking, just add a little bit more. The peas will absorb all of those flavors. While that's doing its thing, let's talk about the rice in rice and peas because so many people have a favorite, so I will touch on a few of the most popular ones. Starting with plain white long grain rice. This is the most popular rice used and it's great for adding a variety of flavors too. I use a 1-to-1 ratio of rice to water to cook this. So 1 cup water to 1 cup rice after I wash the rice. Washing introduces a little bit of water and I always wash my rice. Parboiled rice is a favorite for a lot of people. It's partially cooked in the husk and then dried. It's a lot healthier than plain white rice and usually cooks up a lot firmer. I add an extra 1/4 cup of water when cooking this to get a similar result. Basmati rice is one of my favorites. It's really forgiving and can take up to double the amount of water and still be good. It's great for rice and peas because we end up with a little too much water sometimes, but I still use the same 1-to-1 ratio of rice to water. This cooks up light and fluffy with a slight natural fragrance. The next rice I don't typically use to make rice and peas, but I know people who do. Jasmine rice is extremely delicious and I love the texture. It has a really intense aroma that I love. Yeah, that's really fragrant. You can smell it and they're not even cooked yet. Unfortunately, that aroma clashes with all the other flavors in rice and peas, so it's best had plain and simple. Great, now let's check back in on the peas. The water has reduced quite a bit and this smells so good, but it's far from cooked. It's been about 10 minutes already, but this will probably take another 20 to 25 minutes. In the meantime, we can talk about a critical ingredient in rice and peas. Coconut. A dry coconut that you process yourself will give you the biggest and best flavors. Not all coconuts are equal, but I always opt for this over everything else. I blended a whole dried coconut with water to make some coconut milk. If you have a juicer that can manage dried coconut, you will end up with a rich coconut cream that's really concentrated. If dried coconut is not an option for whatever reason, then packaged or canned coconut milk is the next best thing. I have these Tetra packs that contain a little less than a cup of coconut milk. Grace is a good brand. It's been about 35 minutes and the water is mostly reduced. This is actually good because I will be replacing it with coconut milk. The kidney bean is cooked completely. By my estimate, this has about half cup of liquid, but I need 2 cups of liquid, so I'm going to make up the rest with coconut milk. Optional, but I also wanted some grated coconut for the traditional authentic spin. Also, 1 green scotchy. Green scotchy hit different. A bit of fresh thyme. A bit of chopped scallion. The long cooking has muted some of the flavors, so adding some fresh seasonings bring back some bright flavors. That coconut will also add some extra texture. Next, I'm going to taste and then season with salt. I usually season the liquid to be just slightly saltier than I want the rice to be when it's done, because the saltiness will go down slightly as the rice absorbs all the liquid, so it balances out. Give it another taste to make sure it's all good. Alright, that's perfect. I'll let this boil for another 5 minutes. I almost forgot the butter. I want 2 tablespoons of butter. This will add a little bit of extra richness. Let's give that about 10 minutes while we wash the rice. I'm using 2 cups of plain white rice. I'm going to wash this to remove the free starch. I remember I used to pick out the unhulled rice on Sundays for rice and peas. Most rice comes pretty clean and uniform today, so I don't have to do that much. I usually give rice 3 washes or until the water starts to run clear. Washing off the free starch helps to keep the grain separate after it cooks. You know, Shelly. Peas is ready now, so I'm going to put in the 2 cups of washed rice. All the rice grains should be submerged like I have here. I'm going to leave this on medium for about 5 minutes to get it up to boiling. After that 5 minutes, I'm going to reduce the heat to the lowest it can go. This is the point where you don't want to stir your rice. The only time we stir after this is when the rice is completely cooked. After another 5 minutes, the water should be mostly absorbed, so I'm going to wrap this with cling wrap. Foil wrap is also an option. This will trap the steam and finish cooking the rice. Cover that up and give it about 8 minutes. Alright, that's done. Smells like Sunday afternoon. I'm going to remove the stuff I won't be eating, like the scotchy and the bay leaf. I am also going to fluff the rice. This smells so good. It's really nutty and fragrant. I like my rice a bit shellier or chewier than this, but this is a great pot of rice and peas. A great test of if your rice and peas is good or not is if you're compelled to eat a bowl of it all by itself. That's perfectly cooked and all the grains are separate. This is some damn good rice and peas. Nice, rich, nutty and really flavorful. I also cooked 2 other rice and peas. This is parboiled rice with red peas. The grains are firmer and more defined and it has a little bite to it, but just as delicious. This is basmati with gungo peas. Nice and fluffy, but not as dark as the peas and beans one. Perfect. This is all delicious. I have a video plan for brown stew chicken. This is delicious with rice and peas. This was great. Thanks for sticking around till the end. Check the links in the description to support the channel. Drop a comment, like or subscribe for more of this content. And before you go, check out one of these videos